There's a story behind everything in life, but behind all great stories is a mother, because her story is where yours begins. Our mother certainly has a great story, one that remains captured forever in the memories of family members and her many, many friends. One clear memory I have from early on is of people coming to my mother, friends, family, and neighbors, asking her to help them write their thank you notes, brief introductions, or speeches. She certainly helped me countless times in writing papers and essays. She was happy to do it, and she was very good at it, always finding the right word or phrase. So it is perhaps fitting that I'm now taking the occasion to offer some thoughts about our mom. I hope what I've learned from her will help me now to express just what a special person she was. Our mother is lovable, colorful, fiery, an all-encompassing person. To know her is to love her and be loved in return. And while she's certainly a very bright woman, she truly lives from the heart. It's been said that those who live by the heart will never be alone. And that's true of my mother, who was constantly surrounded by loving friends and family, all drawn to her kindness, her energy, and her positive nature. Our house always had its doors wide open. It seems to me now that our house was like my mother's heart, full, open, generous. We never had an alarm. We never locked our door. We constantly had people walking in and out, knowing the door would be wide open. Neighbors, cousins, and friends, they always knew they'd get a nice hot meal and great conversation. My mother loves to converse, to philosophize, to give advice, to discuss, even to argue. When my mother and her brother Sonny were young, they would bring friends over to their home, and they, along with my grandfather, would argue and debate and philosophize until the wee hours of the morning. I remember when I was in school bringing friends home. When you walked in, there would be wonderful smells. On the stove, pots on all 4 burners would be bubbling. We'd sit at the kitchen table. There would be meatballs on one burner and chicken soup on the other. There'd be brisket in the oven. And suddenly plates would start to appear around the table. My mother would say to my friend, "Would you like brisket?" My friend would politely say, "No thanks," and brisket would be placed in front of him anyway. And it would get eaten up quickly. No one ever complained about my mother's cooking. She cooks with love. Hospitality is part of that love. My mom always makes every visitor feel welcome. Renee and I and my siblings and their spouses try to live up to this ideal, to create a home that has its arms open wide to family, friends, neighbors, and one that is warm and full of life. My beautiful wife is a modern woman who learns from previous generations. She honors traditions and considers the making of a home to be a truly important task. My mother has a unique and special bond with each of Mark, Kathy, and me, and our spouses. I want to especially highlight my brother Mark's and my deep appreciation for Kathy and her family's dedication to my mom and dad, being in Montreal with them for all these years. I also want to give special thanks to my mom's caregiver and friend, Thelma, who has been so dedicated to helping her. The depth of my mother's unconditional love for and dedication to us as her children is beyond remarkable. Our pain and our joy is felt exponentially deeper by her than, in fact, by ourselves. She is so caring that at times my father worried she might be going a little overboard. For example, when my mother caringly asked me questions about my life, he might say, "Ro, leave him alone." Sometimes I think my mother is the original networker, long before Facebook. Mom has real friends, more real friends than anyone I know, and she knows how to keep her friendships alive. Many of the people she's closest to, she's known since she was 5 years old. These friendships have a depth that's almost impossible to imagine. My grandfather, Harry, who came to this country at the age of 13 with nothing, was literally someone who would give the shirt off his back to help others. My mother followed this example, and in her friendships, as with her family, she is caring beyond measure. She's there for us at a moment's notice. Being a good and lasting friend is something she taught us, and we thank her for that. But her caring goes beyond the enormous circle of people she knows. My mother's heart has also led her to caring for those she's never met. One example of this is her work with dysautonomia. More recently, as my dad suffered the terrible effects of Alzheimer's, my mom was there for him in every way for as long as humanly possible. In doing so, she actually put her own life and health at risk. She is a model of compassion, caring, and love. In an age where too many people seem to be uncaring or simply unemotional or reserved, my mom is a true original. She laughs and cries with ease. She's extroverted, emotional, and outspoken. And she giggles. Now, I don't mean just a little giggle, but a cascading giggle that is contagious and sparks a general mood of hilarity. This, by the way, can happen at the most inopportune times, including parent-teacher meetings, weddings, and yes, funerals. This actually happened a couple of years ago in the hospital during the wee hours of the morning. She was having an attack of arrhythmia and suddenly found herself surrounded by half dozen doctors, whose average age, as she tells it, was about 10. One of them called out, "Let's use a defibrillator." Mom at this point says she felt like she was in the middle of a Saturday Night Live skit and started giggling uncontrollably. The doctors thought she had lost her mind. She then told the doctors in no uncertain terms to calm down and not dare touch her with a defibrillator or anything else for that matter. A sense of humor can take you a long way in life, a great lesson our mom has taught us. Those who know her love and cherish these special qualities. She's a life force. She has a youthful spirit, and that spirit has always been naturally artistic. The artistic side is something we all knew about while we were growing up. We heard her play the piano and sing. We listened to the speeches she wrote. But then she began taking painting classes. Now her paintings decorate our homes. My mother's heart extends, of course, to her grandchildren. As she did with her children, she offers unconditional love and dedication. She always made a huge effort to be at their graduations, prayer book ceremonies, piano recitals, and Sabbath ceremonies. She literally has become a close friend and confidant to her adult grandchildren. She embraced the role of grandmother with all her love and all her energy. My mother entered into the role of wife with all her heart and soul. She helped my dad enjoy life. She's fun and fiery and pulled him to social events where he often ended up being the life of the party. I have an indelible image of my parents in the den playing Scrabble and watching TV. My dad is the more mathematical player. He'll maximize the numbers, while my mother takes a more artistic approach and will bring in the great words. Their results end up being pretty even. They were a good match. My mom has also had a wonderful relationship with her cousins and nieces and nephews. She is so easy to talk to. She truly listens and offers unfiltered, sage advice. My mom also adores my amazing in-laws and the wonderful in-laws of my brother and sister. Another thing my mom always cherished was being a sister-in-law to my dear aunts and uncles. My Auntie Lillian and my mom grew especially close over the last few years, living in the same apartment building and spending tons of time together. The dedication my Auntie Lillian has shown my mom is nothing short of remarkable. One night, I was at my Uncle Sonny's house for dinner when my parents were away. He often referred to my mom by her Yiddish name, Razel. We were having dinner, and a discussion ensued about the many remarkable Razels that we knew. But then Uncle Sonny cut to the point. He said, "There is only one Razel. My mother is one of a kind. To know her is to know why God created mothers. Mom, I love you, I thank you, and I honor you."